Elizabeth S. Anderson, Private Government, How Employers Rule Our Lives, and Why We Don't Talk About It. In Private Government, How Employers Rule Our Lives, and Why We Don't Talk About It, Elizabeth S. Anderson sheds light on the undemocratic and highly authoritarian governing structures in modern workplaces. She argues that employers have far-reaching, dictatorial powers, which are rarely discussed in public. Anderson particularly emphasizes the need for workplace democracy and explores unions, co-ops, and co-termination as potential alternatives to the current private government model. The introduction provides a preview of the vital topics and themes of this thought-provoking book that challenges the conventional wisdom and understanding of the capitalist market.
The authoritarian structure of modern workplaces. In this book, the author explains how most modern workplaces are authoritarian and compares them to a communist dictatorship. The book illustrates how modern corporations have highly centralized authority structures where CEOs and managers make decisions, issue commands, and own all means of production. Workers, as inferiors, are expected to comply with company policies. Moreover, the book highlights that corporate governments have the right to violate employees' privacy through surveillance and drug testing, and disobedience may lead to getting fired. The Dictatorship of Employers. Employers wield dictatorial powers over their employees' lives within some broad limitations. The CEO and board of directors constitute an oligarchy with control over the corporation's government. The same goes for superior managers. Employees cannot challenge their decisions or remove them from office, and their avenues of recourse are limited to occasional egregious behaviors. The worst that managers can do is fire employees. Compliance with employers' desires brings a continuous stream of income and the possibility of promotion. The illusion of job choice. In a capitalist economy, the idea of quitting your job and finding another one is not as simple as it sounds. Self-employment opportunities are limited, and most modern businesses require vast startup capital, which most people don't have access to. Moreover, in the US, employers can have their workers sign non-compete clauses. Even if we overlook these facts, quitting your job means losing your income, unemployment insurance eligibility, and more. It is also worse than being fired. The freedom to leave a company boils down to the freedom to wield your employer's most harmful weapon of coercion against yourself. At present, the key message is that workers have the right to quit their jobs, but their ability to do so is highly constrained. Employers' extensive power. Many workers are unaware of the extent of an employer's power, both inside and outside of the workplace. An employer's ability to fire an employee is just the beginning. In the US, an at-will employment contract allows an employer to fire an employee for almost any reason, including activities outside of work. Employers can even pressure employees to support political campaigns, divulge personal information, and maintain certain lifestyles. Inside the workplace, employers can dictate employee behavior, speech, and attire, leading to a significant lack of freedom for most employees. The problem with modern workplaces. In most modern workplaces, there is a hierarchical governing structure, where the CEO, board of directors, and managers wield power over employees. The issue is not having a government in the workplace, but rather the nature of the government in question. The uneven distribution of power in the workplace can be acceptable, depending on how it is regulated, limited, and derived. Living in a democratic country is different from living in an authoritarian one, despite both being ruled by a government. Therefore, the problem with modern workplaces is not that they have a government, but the type of government they have. The problem with private governments in the workplace. In the modern workplace, the issue is not the presence of government, hierarchy, or orders, but rather the fact that companies are ruled by a private government. This government, made up of the CEO, board of directors, and managers, is exclusive and does not take into account the interests of the workers. The workers have no say in decision-making and cannot hold the decision-makers accountable. This creates a private government that excludes the majority and poses a significant problem in the workplace. Making workplaces more democratic. Modern companies run by private governments pose a problem that can be solved by making them public. The solution involves making workplaces more democratic. For a government to be democratic, it's crucial that everyone has a voice in the system. Similarly, to make a company public, workers need to have a say in how they're run. The two main ways to accomplish this are through union representation and direct employee participation in the governance of their companies. Union representation harnesses the power of collective bargaining, making managers aware of workers' voices. A workplace government can be jointly run by workers and managers, as seen in Germany's system of co-termination. Alternatively, companies can be run as co-ops, where workers are co-owners and co-managers. These alternatives offer viable options to authoritarian workplace governments and total anarchy. Unseen power. In a society where the government imposes strict rules, people would naturally resist, yet when it comes to workplace authoritarianism, we're strangely silent. There's a lack of public awareness that often results in ignorance of the extensive power employers wield over employees. The higher one's socioeconomic status, the less likely they are to acknowledge this problem. There's an imbalance of power between employees and employers, and the true extent of this power remains unknown, yet pervasive. Antiquated ideas about the labor market. The belief that the labor market is a place where workers and employers are equally powerful is an old-fashioned and inaccurate notion. This idea originated in the 17th and 18th centuries, a time when the market was liberating for most people, except those who were excluded. In modern times, this idea has become impractical and misleading. To have a successful market transaction, both parties involved must have something that the other wants. In reality, employers often have much more leverage than employees, leading to an unequal relationship. The liberation promised by the market was not complete, and many were still in servitude. Today, the labor market is complicated, and this antiquated idea about it should be rejected. The market dream turned into a nightmare. The capitalist market once promised to liberate people, but the Industrial Revolution changed everything. Large-scale manufacturing required huge amounts of capital, and the dream of becoming independent soon became a thing of the past. Private companies dominate the modern economy, leaving most people with no option but to get a job. The early promises of the market have turned into a dystopian-like reality, and it's time for us to wake up.
Anderson's examination in A Private Government reveals the flaws within the modern capitalist market and workplace hierarchy, illustrating how employees have limited to no say or control over their work conditions and are subjected to restrictive commands. The book posits that fostering workplace democracy offers an alternative to the current authoritarian model, transforming corporate governance to ensure fair and equal participation. As a conclusion, the book's summary leaves readers with an urge to rethink the existing workplace hierarchies and the importance of introducing democratic principles within modern work environments. The solution is not to eradicate the workplace government entirely, but to transform it into a public entity that empowers workers' voices and promotes transparency and accountability.